In today's episode, X-Man Volt giveaway, new 7x7 and Megaminx world records, a lot of new cubes from Yushin, and a video interview with DGCubes. Hey, Shawnee from SpeedCubeReview.com with the SpeedCubeReview podcast. This is episode 5. So for this episode, we're not going to do the history of the week because 1, the interview went a bit longer than normal, and 2, I have had such an insane couple weeks with work that I just had no time to study for something, so I apologize for that. The interview will be a video. There is an amazing part at the end that you have to see that I had to start recording again because it was so ridiculous. So stay tuned for that. If you're on iTunes or other just audio formats, 99% of the podcast will still be perfectly fine to listen to, and there's not really a visual necessary for any of those other things. Now, the last podcast, the giveaway winner was, I hope I'm pronouncing this kind of close, Yu. Congratulations, you'll be getting the Chi set I showed last time. It should have shipped out already as long as I was able to get to a post office by the time this podcast was released. This week we have the X-Man Volt Square 1. To enter, all you have to do is after finishing listening to the podcast, head over to speedcubereview.com/podcast, or just go to speedcubereview.com and there'll be a podcast tab, and answer the question correctly. And once you do that and enter that way, you'll be entered to win. Now, you'll have an entire week to enter, so it doesn't matter if you entered today when this podcast was released or a few days later, you'll still have 1 week to enter. Now, I released a video a few days ago with the Volk Aqua Blue. I've had a lot of people asking me what it looks like stickered. You can see what it looks like stickered on the SpeedCubeReview Instagram account. I have a few videos coming out also that are sort of that same thing where it's actually an unboxing, but what I've been doing lately is doing individual videos. So in the past, I've had unboxings with like 6, 7, 8 cubes, and I kind of brush through all of them, and some of them don't really require a full review. But I can't, I don't want to do this unboxing, then do another really small, simple video just on that puzzle later on. I feel like that's redundant. So I'm kind of going to make these one big thing and do just a separate, larger review later on for really big release puzzles, not really budget ones or things like that, that I find not to be where I need too much more information published with it. Now, it's been a little while since I've answered any questions on the podcast. There's been a few asked, and actually there was one where someone asked about a mini puzzle, and I meant to respond to that in a podcast, and then I forgot when the podcast last time, and so I just made a video, so that will either be released really soon or it was just released. Probably actually I'll release it the day before this podcast comes out. So, but there is a question that was asked a few weeks ago from Charisse from the Philippines. I'm probably pronounced that wrong as well. What in the puzzle that makes you most interested to solve, and have you ever been discouraged in solving the puzzle? So I think the big thing is what makes you interested in solving, and have you ever been discouraged is obvious. I haven't really been discouraged. Well, since I figured it out. I mean, I guess the first 27 years I was discouraged. But whenever I do get bored, I try new things. I'm going to make a video on this at some point. I'm actually going to do more just videos of me talking to the camera, really short things. But I see so many people. I had actually 2 people this week alone say they're going to quit cubing. Which I don't understand at all, because cubing, it's not something that you just like have to do all the way or none. It's like quitting doing crossword puzzles. It's something that you can just do in your spare time. But both people said they're going to quit because they don't feel like they're getting any better. If you're focused on your times, you will get more and more frustrated. I know someone personally who I think completely quit cubing altogether just because he kept trying to beat his best time and was getting more frustrated every single time to a point where he was solving under 10 seconds, but because the times were such small increases or there were times where it was getting faster, it was just frustrating. It was stressful. Like, if I wanted to become a basketball star and I got frustrated that I couldn't play at the level of the NBA players, that's ridiculous for me to get frustrated with that, because there's always going to be those people who really just excel at it. Of course, they put in a ton of practice, but it is just something that they really do well at. The reason why I don't think I've ever been discouraged in cubing is because I don't care what my times are. Yes, they're getting faster, and yes, that's a lot of fun, but the moment I got my first ever sub 10 solve, I stopped trying to get faster from there, which is why I picked up ZZ and Rue, then I became color neutral, then I spent a month just doing FMC solves, as far as what interests me in a cube, that was kind of that first part of it. I don't know. Something that's different, like ones that feel different, ones that just make the experience something new. So I love going back to Fang Shi Shrengren. That is still my favorite one to go to, although I can't find it, which is scaring me. The first one that I had. I love going back to that one because it feels different than any other puzzle out there. Yeah, my times might be half a second worse than with like a Volk, but I don't care. It's still fun to use. I'm hoping the puzzle comes in today. I'm going to try to make as quiet and smooth of a puzzle as I can. To an extent, I'm not going to go insane and make it like almost unusable. I'm going to try to make it usable, but really quiet, and smooth, just to see what I can do with that. And I'll have a video on that, so I'm not going to spoil that right now. If you have any questions, send them to me through that webpage, the speedtubeview.com/podcast. There's a spot right at the top that says send your questions here. And if you want them on air, most of the time I'll get those on air. Sometimes the questions I don't feel like would fit, but yeah, definitely send those in. Let's go to some records. There was a new 7x7 world record by Wong Kin using the Chi-Yi Wuji. And it was kind of funny, as after he broke it, Felix posted that something along the lines of, he thought he was just going to have to worry about Max Park competing this weekend. There was also a Megaminx single world record of 31.53 by Juan Pablo. And he also got the South American record average of 37.66. As far as some other records, Kevin Hayes got a new 5x5 North American record of 46.07 seconds. Shivam Banse of India, I'm probably way pronounced that one wrong, got a really impressive multi-blind Asian record of 38 out of 40, which is getting dangerously close to Mascow's world record. I think I remember actually seeing Mascow say or post something that he hopes someone breaks his world record soon, that he just wants someone to beat it at this point. Although it looks like he's getting back into cubing. I don't know the full story, but I believe he slipped on ice and hurt his hand, and it wasn't really able to solve as fast. I think that's getting better and he's getting back into it, but at the time when that happened, he kind of said he was done with speed solving. We'll see. Maybe he is getting back into it. So Kel Schul, I don't know if that's Schul or School, but got a new 5x5 blindfold North American record of 5 minutes and 31 seconds and a national record of 4x4 blindfold of 2.22 seconds. Now, looking at the records is interesting. There's a lot of records that happen every single week, but just recently from Anthony Paderekis, he got 8 new national records. The 2x2 average, the 5x5 average, the 6x6 single, the 7x7 average, the 3x3 blind single, one-handed, Pyraminx, and the square one average. That is ridiculous. So those are kind of some of the new world records or records that are out there. Of course, I'm going to miss some. I know I missed some last time. Someone called me out on it. Going through all of them would just be extremely boring, I think. So I apologize if you did get a record and I didn't say it, or you really liked one record and you wish I said that. So some new puzzles, though. There's some interesting things. Moyu is going to be printing Nathan Wilson's mod of the Fisher Skew. And he made a video on this, so check it out. Go to Nathan Wilson's channel. You can just type in Nathan Wilson. It'll probably pop up. Or I know his YouTube name is youtube.com/nerdbubblegum. But he talked about how there was a different puzzle they were going to print, and then that just didn't work, and they went through a few prototypes, and kind of admitted that, the whole process was completely different than what he thought, and other people are really designing it to make it mass produced. But that's super exciting. I actually, side note, I got the Nathan Wilson's shirt, the one he did for that Teespring campaign. So that just came in. I'm excited to wear that. There's a couple new cubes from the Chi-Yi, the Chi line. There's a Chi-Hien, or Chi-Hien S Megaminx. Now, it's interesting. It's sculpted. It looks very similar to the Galaxy Megaminx. The difference in this, though, the center is not concave. And all of the Chi S lines, I think S just stands for stickerless, but all the Chi ones kind of have that frosted. I don't actually like saying the word frosted. I think that it should be, instead of frosted, it should be just unpolished, because if you ever have felt what frosted glass feels like, it's not like that. It's not that bumpy. It just doesn't feel slick, or it doesn't feel smoothed out. So I just want to say it's like unpolished. There's also the Chi Zheng. They say it's a smaller size. It's 62 millimeters. It's the same size that the Wuxuang is. So it's a slightly smaller 5x5. If you like the Wuxuang size, it's going to be that. It looks like it's going to perform pretty well just from images, although it's impossible to really say just by looking at the images. This also is going to have that unpolished finish. And all of these ones have slightly different shades. The blue is lighter. The red is lighter. I almost feel like it has a pink look to it. But none of these have performed poorly. They're all quite nice. So I'm actually quite excited to try this one out. Yushin dropped a ton of puzzles. I said in a previous podcast they showed a 5x5. I think this might be part of the same group. There's a line of puzzles. I think they're calling QN because I see QN in all the boxes. There's also a lot of other Chinese on the box that I cannot read. But they have a 2x2 or 3x3 and a 4x4 they showed. The 4x4 is going to be 60 millimeters, which I'm super pumped about because I really feel like we need more 60 millimeter 4x4s out there. I don't know what these are going to be like. I feel like Yushin on their budget ones tend to do pretty well. Like their top of the line ones are okay, they're pretty good, but their budget ones end up being often really big sellers. So I'm excited to see what this is like. There's a new Scube from X-Man Design, and this one I'm actually really pumped about. I'm not a big Scube solver. I actually don't think I've solved a Scube since, I don't know, months. I think last time I actually did solve it was when I was scrambling at a competition and I mis-scrambled someone's cube and I had to solve it to scramble it again. But it's a concave Scube, which I don't know why we haven't really done this before, unless we have and I just didn't even realize it. But this one I'm pumped about. I feel like I want to see more things that are concave like this, or maybe just sculpted. Do like a sculpted Scube, because the sculpted Megaminx, it's almost unanimous that everyone likes the sculpted version better than any of the other ones. Lastly, Shengsho 5x5 Mastermorphix. I love the way Mastermorphix looks. I like the way they look when they're solved. Honestly, when they're scrambled, they're a little bit annoying. But they have a 5x5 one coming out. I don't think this has existed before. I don't think a company's made this. There's been 3x3. They recently came out with a 4x4, which I already have unboxed and have that one. Actually, I don't know if that video's out yet. So if it's not out yet, surprise, I have that. And that'll be out soon. But I'm really excited about this. I will be getting this the moment that I'm able to. There's also a new thing from Cube Twist. I guess they've already had something like this, but this is a redesign of it. But it's a DIY bandage puzzle. It's interesting. Each piece has holes in it, almost like for Legos. But you get the cube that's just black with the holes in it, and either 1x1 colors, 1x2 colors, or 2x2 colors, and you can put them on the puzzle and make your own bandage cube just by adding these bars in that sort of lock pieces into place. This is great. This is awesome. So if you've ever wanted to try a bandage cube but don't want to pay the price for someone else to make it, or don't want to spend the time to build your own, you just get this and make whatever bandage cube you want. I'll probably be getting a couple of them and trying different things out. Last thing isn't really a new puzzle, but the Gans Air UM is available pretty much everywhere now. You can get it on SpeedCube Shop. You can get it from most Chinese stores. It's everywhere. So that is nice that it's not just limited to GAN or Cubicle. You can just go anywhere and get it now. And that's about it for new puzzles. I've got a lot of videos that are in the works, and hopefully I can get a lot of those out very soon. So that's about it for new puzzles and things like that. Like I said, we're going to forgo the history thing right now. I had a couple things in mind, but just scheduling is getting a little bit insane. This whole summer is going to be a little bit crazy. I'm hoping to stay on track, but there might be 1 or 2 episodes that are just really quick catch-ups, and I might have to forego interviews as well. I want to make sure I get something every 2 weeks, but I might have to forego some things to make that work. So for now, though, let's go to the interview. This interview is going to be with DGCubes. Like I said, it's a video interview, so if you're watching this on YouTube, it'll go to the video in just a second. And if you're listening to this on another client, after you're done listening to it, you might want to jump over and just watch that last part. At the end of this, head over to speedcubeview.com/podcast to answer the question and enter the giveaway. Hey, so I'm here with DGCubes from YouTube. So thank you for being on the show. So is your real name DG?
Those are my initials. My real name is Daniel Goodman.
All right. So yep. Just to get that question out of the way. Now, actually, I think we'd probably talked once or twice through like the forum, but we Mario Karted like about last year.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
So I've been thinking about getting some sort of tournament thing back on.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of update everyone or not update, but we're up to speed with that. So we talked about like Nintendo stuff on the forum, and then we just decided to do a little tournament, and no one showed up. It was like you, Derpy, and I think like Sir Waffles showed up.
Yeah.
But so I guess on that note, before we get to cubes and stuff, are you still Mario Karting, or are you out of that?
I am still Mario Karting a decent amount. I haven't done it as much super recently because I've been busy with school around this time of year. But but yeah, I still play Mario Kart, pretty often. So
do you? What is your favorite game?
Okay, so I do have all 8, except for Deluxe. I don't have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe yet, but I have all 8, and I would have to say Mario Kart 8 is my favorite.
Well, so do you have a Switch then, or are you planning on getting
I actually do have a Switch. I just got it recently, and the only game I have for it right now is Breath of the Wild. I haven't decided if I want to get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe yet, just because like it seems very similar to Mario Kart 8. So.
Yeah, I haven't bought a Switch yet.
Okay.
I am going to. Like, I am not going to miss out on Mario Odyssey when that comes out.
Yes.
But I'm going to wait a little bit because I am like, this wedding season's picking up. I'm swamped. And I'm at that same thing. Like, do I pick up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? I mean, that game was the hottest selling game of last month, and it was only out for like 2 months before that. That. And people are saying it is a better version, but I don't really do the battle mode. So
yeah, same.
But I don't want to like get the Switch and then have a week. Yeah, I'm in like, I don't know what I want to do, so I'll just keep waiting, and maybe we'll do the Mario Kart 8 tournament though later on.
Yeah, that would be really cool. I feel like for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if they added even just like a couple new courses or something, like that would be enough for me to get it. But
if they added Birdo, do you know who Birdo is?
Yes.
Yeah, if they added Birdo, I will buy that game.
Really?
Like, that Birdo is the best character ever made. Like, it's a pink dinosaur that shoots seeds or whatever out of its nose, and then the original, like the original Mario 2, but it was the Japanese before it turned into Mario. What's it actually called?
Doki Doki Panic was the Japanese name.
Yeah. It said in the description that Birdo is actually, I think it's worded as Birdo is a guy that thinks he's a girl.
Yeah. I've seen that before.
And Nintendo doesn't talk about that anymore. But I just, for like all of the history of that, Birdo is all put Birdo in. You make it.
Yeah. That's pretty progressive for Nintendo in like the 80s or whenever that was.
Yeah,
right?
that's got to be like 87 or 88.
Yeah.
But and actually, before we get into cubes, so I was looking through some, because I haven't watched all 300 plus videos of yours.
Yes.
But you used to do a lot of magic.
Oh yeah, I did do a decent amount of magic for a little while.
What now? I'm assuming you mean like magic tricks, not the card game Magic.
Yes,
Or
yes.
both.
Yes, Magic Tricks.
Okay.
I've never played Magic the Gathering, no.
Is there a specific focus? Because I used to do, I got into magic tricks a little bit because I got this little kit when I was younger, but card tricks
Yeah.
I got into a lot. Is there something specific in that, and do you still do that?
It's something that I kind of see as like a casual hobby. Like
Mhm.
I'm not nearly as serious about it as I am with cubing. But you know, I like to, I'm subscribed to a couple Magic channels, so I learn like card tricks here and there, and I just, you know, do them for like friends and stuff at school or wherever I get the chance. But yeah, it's not really something that I feel like I'm too passionate about, but I enjoy doing it every once in a while, and like sometimes I'll kind of get on a kick of doing it for like a lot for like a couple weeks, and then I'll kind of drop it for a bit.
Are you
But,
mad
yeah.
that you didn't go on America's Got Talent and did Rubik's Cube Magic first?
Yeah, kind of mad about that, but you know, Stephen Brundage did a really good job. So
He did. Do you know where, like, because did you see the video before he got on America's Got Talent?
yeah, I saw that.
Where he
The
got,
one where
like-
he got pulled over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, he got pulled over and I guess got out of a speeding ticket by doing pretty much the exact same trick he did
Yeah.
on the first one. But okay, so and actually, let's get into cubing.
All right.
So now first off, you are I think like 11th in the world for 2x2 average.
Pyraminx average, you mean?
Pyraminx average, yeah.
Yes.
So first, congrats with that.
Thank you.
But in the nation for single, you are tied with 13th on Pyraminx and 13th in feet. So what are you most proud of, Pyraminx or feet?
Okay, so for single or
Yes,
in
for
general?
single. You have 13th in both.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not proud of either of those singles, just because for both of them, I know I can do better. Like for my Pyraminx single, when you look at how close it is to my average, like my single I think is a 230 something, and my average is 295. Like you know, I get a decent amount of sub twos at home, so I feel like I'm kind of due to get one of those. So I don't know. I'm not really that proud of that single, and also for feet, when I got, I forget what my single is. It's like a 50 something. I was practicing like crazy for that competition because, you know, they don't have feet that often. And I was averaging at home around like 44 seconds. And then I just bombed at that competition and I did not do well at all. So
I have never done feet in my life. I've never tried it.
Yeah, it's something I put it off for a while, but then you get into it and it gets really fun. It is a fun event to pick up and do every once in a while.
So how do you like? Well, okay. For Pyraminx, what's your method?
I use intuitive L4E. It's a V first method.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if like someone for me, I do keyhole.
Okay.
So top down, I guess.
Yeah.
And I only did that because I don't know. I want to do something different.
Yeah.
And so I know the next like step to do would be one flip for that. And I feel like I do that already intuitively. Like I just plan out what that would be from the start or try to do that.
Yeah.
Do you feel that that's going to get into like an issue where like, 'cause does one flip have a limit or there's so many different methods for Pyraminx.
Yeah. Yeah, so for Pyraminx, like, I'm not really an expert with top first methods. Like, I know the basic idea behind keyhole. Like, I can average probably around, like, maybe 7 seconds on keyhole or so.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, like, and one flip, I don't know at all. Like, I know how it works, but I don't know any of the Alex word or anything. But, like, I feel like, okay, if I'm being completely unbiased, I feel like top first methods are just as good as V first methods. And like, you know, like Drew Brads uses top first methods. And then like, you know, me and like a lot of other like people who are faster than me use V first methods too, right? So I feel like they kind of both approach the same limit. But with top first methods, I feel like you kind of use a bunch of methods to get really fast. Whereas with V first, it kind of narrows in on one method, which I would say is L4E. Because like there isn't much besides intuitive L4E to go for when it comes to V first methods. So
okay, yeah. That's one thing that there's so many different videos on 3x3 for Pyraminx. It's hard to find like something that really kind of narrows that in, because a couple of them they show different paths to take, but that as much as I like being completely vague and not direct with what I respond with, I really got frustrated not seeing some direct thing with that.
Yeah. I would say the most direct path for Pyraminx is like, you know, you start out using like layer by layer, right? And then from there it's a pretty natural transition into L4E. And then basically with that, it's just like practice and practice and practice until you get like better at it, and you can basically solve without pausing and like one look, which I'm still trying to work on. Like I don't one look all of my solves yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any tips for feet? Do you just do CFOP, or is it different?
Yes, I do just do CFOP for feet. Okay, so for feet, there are kind of two different turning styles. I don't know if you've heard about this, but they have FRLB turning styles, and then there are like U turning styles. So some people don't do U moves for feet, and they only do F, R, L, and B moves. And if they have a U move to do, they'll rotate. Because it's harder to. A lot of people think it's harder to do U moves for feet. Personally, I use U moves as well, because I mean, it works well for me. I'm able to finger trick doesn't really work. I guess foot trick.
No, it'd be toe trick.
Toe trick, yeah. I guess.
You toe trick it.
Yeah. I guess I can toe trick. That sounds so weird. I guess I can toe trick U moves like pretty well, so I don't have much of an issue with that. But yeah, honestly, the biggest tip I have for feet is just like to practice the event. And I know it sounds really cliche, right? But with feet, you can get really fast just practicing alone. Like I averaged maybe like 2 minutes for quite a while when I really didn't practice much. And then I put a little time into it and basically was sub 1 like pretty quickly. So and also one thing I would also recommend is that you get like a big cube. Personally, that works really well for me. Like I use the Chi Big Sail, and it works really well because with smaller cubes, it's hard to get your feet to just turn one layer. So sometimes you might accidentally turn another one or something. Whereas with big cubes, I feel like they're easier to control. Personally,
I'm still trying to not laugh at the toe trick thing.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't sound right.
No. So going to some questions from Instagram. I don't understand this one. I'm hoping you do. From Macaulay710. Do you do mango?
Oh, okay. So yeah, this is a reference to one of my videos.
Okay, what is this?
Okay, so do you know Keaton Ellis?
I know of him. He said hi to me once on a live stream.
Okay,
so
okay.
I am very happy about that.
Yeah, so Keaton commented on one of my Q&As like last summer, and he said that my last name is an anagram of Do Mango, which it is. Goodman, when you mix the letters around, you get Do Mango. So then he said, do you do mango? So in that video, I put a clip of me actually like going to the supermarket and buying a mango. And so I guess this person remembers that video. So yes, okay. I do mango.
If you ever come up with a method, I'm hoping you call it the mango method.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Maybe there'll be a new toe tricking feet method called the mango.
Could work.
Cubing for life. He asks, have you ever hated a cube after you loved it?
Ooh, I know there's going to be something. I just need to think for a second. Okay, I feel like the best example of this is kind of the Oolong GT. When I first got that cube, I really liked it, and I used it for like a full average of 1,000. And 700 solves in, or like 800 solves in, it just got like really bad. Like suddenly, I don't know what it was. I don't really remember even how it felt, but like I remember it just felt terrible. I continued using it for the average of 1,000 because I wanted to make a review on it and stuff. But the average of 1,000 was on track to being sub 14, which was really good for me at the time when I got it like a couple years ago. And then just by the last like couple hundred solves alone, it made the average not sub 14. So that would probably be like my best example of that.
I had the opposite with the GT. Like when I did the unboxing, I was trying so hard to be like, it's different. It's not bad. It's a little bulky, but I hated it when it came out. And then I used it, and actually I put it away. I took it out. I'm just every day I pull out a different puzzle to use that. I'm trying to be like cube neutral right now too. And I like it now. Like it's surprisingly smooth. I just wish it was small. Like if they made an Oolong GT Mini, I would get it. Like that, I might use it as a main just because that it's that 57 millimeter. Like we're past that. We have evolved past 57 millimeter at this point.
That's true. Yeah, I feel like actually it's funny because now I like the Oolong GT again. I wouldn't use it as a main or anything, but I do like it now. I feel like somehow it just got better. But yeah, I don't know.
What do you use as a main?
Right now I'm using the cube that Felix sent to me, the GAN 473, the limited edition one.
Yeah, I started to watch it. So how did you get that? Because there's, what, 7 of those?
Yeah, so there's 7 in the world. So some people in the comments of that video are saying there are 8 in the world because Felix has one, which I'm not sure if he got rid of his or if he kept it or what. I imagine he would keep one. So
I'm sure he actually has to throw them out each day because he just wears them out, so he has to keep it alone.
Yeah, but yeah, there are like either 7 or 8 in the world depending on whether or not Felix has one. And so the first 6 went to one randomly chosen winner in each continent, and I was not that winner, but yeah, so there was one for each continent, and then he had another contest after that to get rid of the 7th, and the way it worked was it was kind of like you kind of had to solve a puzzle, like it involves stuff like figuring out clues to figure out a link that you would put into the URL bar, and then it would bring you to like a Google Doc, and then there was more stuff that you had to do, like I actually made
this puzzle kind of
out. Yeah, I actually made a whole 10-minute video on it, like the night I won, because Felix was like, yeah, if you want, you can make a video saying how you solved it. So I did that. But yeah, like if people are interested, they can watch that whole video because it was like a long process. But
I'll link that in the description for the this video.
Yeah, but yeah, that was how I won that, and because I was the first one to figure that out. And yeah, so then he sent me the cube as a prize. So that's how I got.
I know you go over in your video, how is that is it 476? No, 473. How is that different than the regular magnetic?
I actually don't have a regular magnetic GAN 356 Air, but compared to the regular Air, I would say it just gets a lot less lockups. Because personally on the Air, I get a lot of, like, you know those like GAN type lockups where it kind of like
those little catches that just
like I get a lot of those on the Air, but I get very few on the 473. I've tried a couple UMs before, like just regular UMs, and I feel like they're the magnets are kind of less strong. So the 473
and the UM or the 473?
The 473 is stronger, I would say. So it clicks into place more. Yeah, it's just kind of different because it was like a prototype, right? So I think they just used a different strength of magnets, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit. GAN was selling. I don't know if they're still on the website, but on like the DGCubes site, they had like 10 different size and strength of magnets.
Oh, really?
To use. Yeah, you could buy like your own set. So I wonder if they put whatever set that is. If we can figure it out, we could just buy that one. But
yeah,
I go back and forth with the UM because I have it, and I'll sometimes like it, and sometimes I'll get those lockups. Like I'll get like 5 in a row, and I was like, I'm done, not using it, and I picked it up again, and I'm liking it again. So it just keeps doing that. Same person, cubing for life. What is your biggest cubing achievement?
Ooh, okay, biggest. Ooh, that's a really tough one.
13th in feet. That's.
I would probably say, like, as far as speed cubing goes, I would say my biggest cubing achievement is when I got my 2.95 Pyraminx average, because that's like still a really good average for me. Like I average around 3.4 at home, so it was like a pretty good average. And at the time it was 8th in the world, so that felt really good. Yeah, as far as like cubing overall, my biggest achievement, I feel like probably doing all 18 events like at home. Is like I haven't done all of them in competition. I've done everything but 4 and 5 blinds officially, but I've done all 18 at home now, and that felt really good when I got my first 5 blind success. That was all I needed to have done everything, and that felt really good. So that would probably be a really big one too.
What method do you use for 3 blind at this point?
For 3 blinds, I use old Pokemon corners and M2 edges.
Okay, what's your time with that?
Okay, so usually DNF, but I would say when I get a success, it's probably around 2 minutes. Sometimes I'm sub 2, sometimes I'm like closer to 3 minutes. It's like I'm kind of all over the place. But,
that's like I'm around 3 minutes, but now I think I'm getting slower right now because I'm getting angry at DNFs. But that I think I want to make a separate video just explain to people DNFs are normal. Like almost more, like I see so many people where they start off like I DNF'd like 3 in a row. I'm like, good. Like was it close? Like, yeah, it was close. It's like, okay, count that as like a success. Because that's,
yeah.
if you know, like, there's an edge or two off, like, although it won't count in a competition, it still kind of makes sense, so it works.
Yeah, I know what you mean. What bothers me more about three blind though, like I've noticed I have a higher success rate on four blind than I do on three blind. And
Do you think it's
I
just
don't
the
know
time
why.
you take, or?
I think it is because with four blinds, like, so I've noticed for four blinds, I've never had trouble memorizing because I spend so much time making sure I have this like story in my mind, and the only problem I could possibly really make is the execution part. So, whereas with three blinds, I feel like I go for speed more.
Yeah.
So I'm more likely to DNF when I'm really pushing my limits as far as speed goes. Like even with multi-blind, I recently got like just it's not a PB. My PB is 5 out of 5, but I recently got a 4 out of 4 multi after not doing multi for like months. And earlier that day I had done some three blind solves, like maybe 5 or so, and they were all DNFs. So I think it's just based on the amount of time I take to memorize, but
yeah. That might be why I'm slowing down too, because I'm got frustrated with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't going to bring this up, and someone asked a question, Aussie or OC Potter 45. They asked, what's your opinion on the Killominx? So I'm gonna kind of catch people up on this. So you have a video talking about how the Killominx is a horrible name for describing the 2x2 because it doesn't make sense, and that using the term kibby, like a kibby minx, is like a slightly smaller than Killominx, so that'll fit that 2x2. And then what would be the 4x4 one? It was
so the 4x4 would be a Mebi minx because Mebi is the binary prefix that falls between mega and giga. So yeah.
Now I have a proposal, and I don't remember if you talked about this in your video because I saw the video, but I was interested for a little bit, and then maybe I forgot if you brought this part up. I think Killominx and Megaminx are fine, but we changed the 4x4 to Gigaminx, the 5x5 to Terraminx.
Ooh. Yeah, see that I find that interesting because it really does make the most sense, right? To just go in order like that. But it seems, see, the problem is eventually, like if we do that, we'll run out of prefixes a lot sooner, right? Because the biggest prefix that we have officially is Yoda, as in like, the Yoda minx. So that would be, what would that become? Like maybe around an 11 by 11 or something? Maybe, I don't know, somewhere around there. I don't know, maybe 9-ish layers, but it wouldn't be enough for the Yoda minx. Like we would need to go to compound.
You can call
prefixes.
it the Master Yoda minx. There we go. We're done. I think cubing has surpassed what computers can process, so we should just make our own, like the Mango minx.
I'd be down with that.
Ethan Road, us also Instagram. What non-WCA puzzle would you like to see turned into a WCA event?
Okay, so my number one choice would be Kibby Minx, and I am gonna say that. I know it's controversial, but I mean, I kind of have to support my own opinion. So, but yeah, so I would say Kibby Minx would be like my number one choice. And then besides that, I think mirror blocks or some other shape mod would be pretty cool. Like if you've ever seen that guy on YouTube, I think he's the Sepomania or something.
Sepomania, yeah.
Yeah, he's really good at like all shape mods, and he doesn't really get the recognition he deserves because they're not official. So I don't know. I feel like the interest is there, and like because even people who don't do non-WCA events, a lot of people have a mirror blocks. So I think the interest is definitely there, but I don't know. I feel like it wouldn't happen until people really start like petitioning that we get that as an event.
Like I would be all for the mirror blocks. The only issue I can see is that there has to be regulations on how like thick each one should be, or like a minimum. So they would have to start recognizing, okay, these ones are legal, these ones are not. I don't think there's, the only thing that wouldn't be legal would be like the more you mirror S, because that's not the correct sizes.
Yeah, it could get kind of weird, especially if people do like their own modifications. Like I think that's what the Sepomania does, because like mirror blocks aren't that good because there aren't really any speed ones or anything. So I think he like modifies his own.
Although I could see now, like here, I'll grab this. Like this is a mirror 4x4, and it's based off an Ausu, and it's just been added extensions. So like if I could just add extensions to a different puzzle, that would, because there's a lot of issues that could arise from gauging that size, and maybe officials trying to, not officials, what's the word for the people that are running the event?
Organizers?
Yeah,
delegates?
yeah, I knew it started with an O. The organizers would have to figure out what's good and what's not, and
yeah, that is a good point about mirror blocks. It would be really hard to regulate, but that's why I feel like, honestly, I feel like the best candidate for a new event right now would be Kibby Minx, just because it's a good size. Like, it's not gonna take too long to do, right? Like, some people suggest things like, oh, we should have 6x6 blindfolded, but, like, that's gonna take forever.
Yeah.
So
the only thing with Kibby Minx is that there's only one out there, really? Or is there another company that makes one?
Well, there used to be that flower minx that, like, people had. I'm not sure who made it, but have you ever seen that? Like,
no.
It's the same puzzle, but the Florian holes were shaped like a flower, so they just called it a flower minx. Yeah. So that's, like, really old. I don't know who made it, but
I'm curious about that now.
Yeah. I feel like, although I do feel like if it became an event, other companies would manufacture them, because, like, then the market would be there, right? Like when Cube started, the only good one was the Lan, and now we're way past that. So
and same with Mirror, though. I think if they made that an event, that would be so many more companies would make good ones.
Yeah.
So from Facebook, now I'm going to try to read this full name because this is an awesome name, and I'm hoping this is a person's real name. Mark Luigi Urbano Hoyaban.
That is an awesome name.
Yes. Who inspired you to cube, and what is your ultimate goal in cubing? So that's two questions. What inspired you to start, and what is your goal?
Okay, so who inspired me to cube would have to... So, okay, it's kind of a weird story. So my cousins technically inspired me to cube, but they didn't do it knowingly. So basically, like, I had this misconception that two of my cousins were able to solve the Rubik's Cube. They couldn't. But I thought they could, because I think, I don't know, maybe they solved it once with the instructions or something, but they couldn't actually solve it. So I was like, I want to be like my cousins. They were, like, older than me and stuff, so I was like, I want to be like them. I want to be able to solve a Rubik's Cube. So I taught myself how with the instruction book. Later on, I found out they can't solve one. I ended up actually teaching one of them, which is kind of ironic, but yeah, so that was, I guess that's why I learned it in the first place, although I kind of always had an interest in doing it, but in the end, that's what pushed me to finally learn. So, and then what was the next one?
Your ultimate goal. Like, what's the end game of this?
The end game. Okay. So I would say I have, like, 2 or 3 things I'd really like to accomplish before I, like, quit cubing, which honestly I don't think I'll ever really completely quit cubing, but before I take it less seriously, I'd like to do all 18 events officially. That's one really big one. I'd like to get a world record in something sometime, like, even if it's something like I don't know, like Pyramid single or something like dumb like that, right? I'd want to get a world record in something before I stop, like, caring so much about cubing. And also, I'd say I kind of have a goal for YouTube of getting someday, like, in the far future, reaching 100,000 subscribers. That's always been kind of like a dream of mine. It's like, when I see people...
the play button and then you're out.
Yeah, I want the play button. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a subscriber goal of mine.
Well, okay, when you started, how long ago did you start YouTube?
I started in May 2013, so 4 years ago.
Now, I have to say, you probably had a really easy start because you had an awesome camera. What was your first camera you used?
Oh, I had my Nintendo 3DS as my first camera.
Now, I actually didn't know this until, like, I think, wasn't it just in the how do you pronounce? Is it DS Load? Wait, what's the podcast name?
Oh, Delsony.
Delsony. Okay, I keep reading DS Loan or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone said that in there. And then I just read it in a comic. Someone asked it too. Yeah. So I didn't I had a 3DS. I didn't even know I could record because that's honestly not bad quality for that camera.
Yeah, it was okay. It's not bad for that camera, but it's pretty bad for any other camera. I
did watch your very first video. Do you know what that is? Do you remember what it was?
Yes. Was it just like a Rubik's Cube solve?
It was a 21-second solve. It was almost entirely out of frame.
Yes.
Like, you see the timer go, and then all you see is, like...
Yeah.
And then it stops.
Yep.
Although it's solved, not what I just did.
Yep.
But yeah, so okay, so yeah, you use the 3DS camera. When did YouTube become something that was like, hey, this is a thing, I could do this?
Do you mean like before I started, or like?
Well, like, so
once...
I think, I mean, I'm gonna assume here that like your first video was just, hey, I can do a thing, let me post this online because it's fun, or did you do that initially, be like, I'm gonna get that YouTube play button?
I think the goal originally wasn't to get the play button, but I did have the goal of making a YouTube channel at that point. Like, once I put up my first video, I had wanted a YouTube channel for a while, and I was making videos on my 3DS before I had a channel, like, just for fun. And I didn't post them anywhere, but I had them on there. But so I did have the goal of like doing YouTube like right from the start. So that was kind of, I think I kind of realized just by watching like Crazy Bad Cuber, he was like a really big inspiration for me. And when I first started, I watched a lot of Me, Myself, and Pi. So, you know, like those YouTube channels really, like, they made me realize that I could do that. And especially seeing like JR Cuber, like somebody else who was young, you know, like being successful at the time. So that was, I felt like I could do it like right from the start, even though I really didn't have the equipment for it or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now if someone asked, I'm gonna have a couple more questions on Facebook, Brian Gann, and I don't know if this is you or they thought they're asking me a question. It says, what instruments do you play other than the violin? Do you play the violin?
I don't play the violin.
Okay. Have you ever tried to play a violin?
I haven't actually tried to play the violin.
Okay, if you're ever in Michigan or I ever go out to whatever place you are at, yes. I will bring a violin.
All right,
so you can
cool.
try that. So do you play an instrument then?
Okay, so I took piano lessons for 5 years, but I was never really too passionate about it, but I can still play some songs here, like and I do it every once in a while just for fun. I don't really take it that seriously, but I can play like a couple songs on the piano. So yes, but that's all I know how to play.
Okay.
And actually, also, I do have an ocarina, so I can play that.
I think at some point, I'm going to have you play the ocarina for a Zelda mosaic.
Ooh, I would do that. I don't know. I'm not that good, but I could play like, you know, some basic
just
Zelda
put
things.
on, like, I've got a Zelda hat. Just grow your hair out, dye it blonde, throw the hat on, and we're ready to go. All right,
sounds good.
So kind of just to, I think, wrap everything up.
Okay.
I didn't actually have a question in mind. I just realized I ran out of questions that I felt like, I mean, there's so many questions on Facebook. So if you want to go to there and Instagram and reply to all those, you can.
All right.
Because, yeah, I didn't have a question. I'm probably going to, I don't know. I should probably clip this and cut it to where I can think of a question. I'm going to Facebook. I'm not going to cut this. I'm going to keep this raw footage and everyone's going to see all of that. So, okay, I've got a question. This one's from, I don't know how to pronounce the name. Swastik Joshi? I'm probably pronounced that way wrong. Okay, really, this is an important question, so I'm going to be super serious about it.
Okay.
Pancake or waffles?
Oh, wait, I should be really serious about this. That is actually really tough. I like both of them. Right now, I could go for waffles more than pancakes, though, so I'm going to go with waffles now. But I do like both. Waffles do have good pockets to hold different substances, whether it is syrup or cube lubrication. Have you ever had a Belgian waffle? I haven't. That is one thing that I keep wanting to have it in every place that advertises it. They're not actually Belgian waffles. Like true Belgian waffles, besides just, you know, it's not just the size of them. There's special, like, Belgian, like, there's special cane sugar that's used. So when you bite into a Belgian waffle, you get, like you can feel the sugar crystals, because it's almost like a crunch in there. Oh, and, wow. A lot of my family's from Belgium, and I've never had one. The closest I had was, like a pre-packaged thing from Big B Coffee that was that honestly, that was closer than what other people say a Belgian waffle is. So violin and Belgian waffle will be the next big step. All right, sounds good. So thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm happy to. Okay, I turned back on the recorder
to show this because and we'll do like this is afterwards. This is so to catch everyone up. We're talking about things that we've randomly got received in the mail. That are not puzzles, that are just random things. And what was something that you received?
Yeah, so I got something a while ago from Light Take, and my mom had to sign for this package. And I came home from school, the package was there, and she's like, it came from Light Take. I open it up, and inside, all that's there is this tiny blue hair clip, this big. And I still don't know why they sent me that to this day. I don't know if it was a mistake or what, or if they wanted me to review it, but so I don't know. That was really weird. So anyway,
yes.
Yeah, so you just told me.
Okay, so I got something really insane, and I wrote the company that shipped it to me, and they're like, no, we didn't send you that. And I was like, yes, you did. They're like, no, we didn't. I was like, do you want this back? And they said, no, we never shipped it to you. It's a really nice wig. I'm sure someone could use this. I don't really know what I could use this for, but I'm sure I could use it. But you see, it's flowing. I am ready to star in a remake of The Room. I'm rocking this thing. So yeah. I think that's about it.
Oh man.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this off. Once again, I'd like to thank DGCubes for coming on the podcast. It was a ton of fun. It was an honor for him to be on there. Check out his channel. I'll link it in the description for the YouTube video. If you have any questions, send them to speedcubereview.com/podcast. There's a link for that. If you're on YouTube, hit like and subscribe. If you're on iTunes, please leave a review. It greatly helps out the show. If there's other reviews and other podcasts, definitely leave one there. Stop by speedcubereview.com for more news and reviews, and I will talk to you guys later.